back. What's going on? Actually, this is the first time we've done this. Whew. Whew. Jumping around makes it hard. We're from the future. It's 2043. We're these Cyclops visions so we can see everything. Nah, I'm kidding. What's going on? It's your boy, Daniel Bourke, and
his brother, Josh Bourke.
Josh. Man, you're breathing heavy. We've got a new show. We're going to try it out. 10 minutes talking Thursdays. What we got here is a list of Quora questions that we've dug up from the internet. Actually, people have requested my answer to them. So we'll see how we go. And essentially what we're going to do, hit the timer, 10 minutes. We're going to answer your questions. If you want to ask us something in the future, at one of us, I'll put links below, at Mr. D. Bourke, at Mr. J. Bourke. He copied me. But let's jump into it. Intro jingle. The questions can be about anything, by the way. Tech, life, fitness, you name it. So we got first one. My boyfriend is torn and asked me, would I regret if I love you with all my heart? We've been together for 2 years and yet he asked me this. What does it mean? What does it mean, Josh?
I don't know, to be honest. This is coming from someone who has zero relationship,
we need to start the timer. All right, timer starts now, so 10 minutes.
Zero relationship knowledge. If he's asking you 2 years into your relationship, would I regret if I love you with all my heart? That's really, it's a really tough one to handle. Because, what has he been doing for the last 2 years?
Is he saying? So essentially, you haven't loved me for the last 2 years.
I've only loved you for a little bit, just a little bit.
Should I start loving you now?
Not with my whole heart.
Yeah, that is a tough one. I mean, with all my heart. With all my heart, how much of your heart have you been using in the past? That's what I would respond to that. Yeah. So if I think it's from Lisa, if he does say that, would I regret loving you with all my heart? How much of his heart? Like, get a really accurate value. Like, is it 16%? Is it 74% or something like that?
Just really break it down.
Yeah, really break it down. Apparently, it'd be great if you could get it in a bar graph over time.
Yeah,
because
like
then
a pie graph.
You can plot the trend and see where you'll end up in the next 2 years, like a forecast.
I'd prefer a pie graph just because I like pie.
No, but actually, it's really hard to answer. I mean, it's who knows what it could mean. I'm sure if you've been together for 2 years, there's definitely some great feelings there. What it would probably take is just having a sit down and asking, hey, where do you see the relationship going? What are your goals for it? What are his goals for it? And maybe they align, maybe they don't. It's a tough place to be.
It could also be another side of the story, like he's been heartbroken before and he's just cautious, but he's been with you for 2 years, so I don't know what.
It's a communication, right? Communication problem. That's everything boils down to is communication. So I would say have a sit down, let him know how you feel, ask him how he feels, and sort it out. I reckon that's pretty solid.
That's a solid answer.
Jokes aside.
Next question.
All right, this one's from Dan. Dan, first of all, epic name, bro. Probably the number one, at least number two name, at least top 5 and at least top 2, and I know it's not number 2, so epic name. What's the question, bro?
What screams?
No, wrong one. It's the one below it.
Below it?
Dan.
Oh. If you have one chance to rewind your life, what thing you would do?
What would you do, mate? You got a rewind button. It's no longer the future.
How to rewind button? Jesus. I don't know. If I rewind back to where? How far back can I go?
Wherever you want. This is a magic rewind button. You could teleport to before you were born. No, actually, make it you're alive.
There's not much that I can go back and not do.
Why?
Because I'm not that old.
Yeah, you got one thing though.
One thing. I don't know. If I rewind my life, I'd like to go back to America. That was fun. Overseas. School, I was a bit of a terror. I don't know if I'd go back and change that. I had fun at school.
What do you mean you were a terror?
Just a standard delinquent.
I bet the teachers loved you.
Yeah, they didn't.
They didn't. They didn't love you at all.
I had a selected few they'd put up with me, but other than that,
No?
no, definitely not.
So what, you would go back, you would do more travel, or...
Yeah, I'd like to just go back to America. That'd be fun. Oh,
Our,
no.
the star of the show is here.
Oh, no.
Our puppy just rocked up. Look, come on, Seven, over here. Oh,
Oh,
no,
no.
no, out. Oh, we got a dog in here. Seven, what would you do if you had to rewind?
No, I was get dinner last night.
You'd rewind back to dinner, wouldn't you?
Yeah, not that far.
All right, what would I do if I had one chance to rewind your life? I wouldn't change anything that I've done. I've talked about this with my best mate Davo before. I wouldn't change anything that I've done, but I would change the things that I didn't do. So, aka getting into YouTube earlier, getting into creating things earlier. I was not listening to the voice in my head for such a long time, and I still feel like I'm only just getting started. Right? It was tough because I was playing hide and seek with myself. Right? But now I'm like, oh, I'm figuring out what you're about, and then this is me talking to me, by the way. So, yeah, it would be to go back, start creating sooner, start listening to the voice in my head who's like, oh, Daniel, you really want to do that. But then I'd be held back by the thought of what happens if I fail at that. So now I'm on the mindset of I'd much rather fail on my own accord or listening to myself than listening to someone else and then failing whilst listening to them. So the only things I regret are the things I didn't do. So the saying's true, right? You only regret the things you didn't do. It's the 20-year rule. If you forecast 20 years in the future, forecast to 2043, right, where I'm from, the only things that I'm going to regret is the things I didn't do in 2018, and that's not 20 years, I know, but 2043 is the number I think of first when I think of the future, because how old will I be then? I'll be 50 years old. 50 years old. That's a good number.
Jesus.
All right, that's it. That's the only things I regret. So that's question 2. Thanks, Dan. You're the man.
What is the worst diet trend ever?
The worst diet trend ever.
What one that I've personally been on?
Or just what you
I
see
would say
in society?
It's a trend.
Yeah, what's a trend? What's the worst one you've seen people talk about?
Let me just cut everything out of my diet. Like carbs. Cut my carbs out. Fats. Just get rid of them.
What do you eat then?
Just that sort of thing, yeah. Just like people cutting everything out of their diet. Practically, they're like, if I eat nothing and just like inhale air, I'll lose weight. Yes, that you will, but is it the best thing for you? No.
Yeah, you need some fuel.
Yeah.
You need to fuel that fire.
Those people are just like, oh, my diet will just consist of me cutting all carbs out of my diet. Okay.
Well, that's one option. That is one.
That stuff just annoys me.
Yeah, when you just cut everything out. Yeah, that's a good thing. Going cold turkey, it's hard, but I don't know if it's the worst one, at least in my opinion. I think some of the worst diet trends that I've seen are the ones that are not sustainable for the long term. I think it keeps coming back to
the juice trend. Ugh.
Yeah, well, juice trends, any trend, right? It's instead of an 8-week challenge with food intake, think about what's an 80-year challenge, right? So rather than just going, oh, okay, for the next 8 weeks, I'm going to stick to this and I'm going to look amazing and I'm going to get shredded for summer. Just think about how... Huh?
Oh, get shredded fast for summer diets.
Get shredded fast for summer and then be shredded for 2 weeks and then get fat
back
again.
To the Tay diet.
No. Tay diet. What's the Tay diet?
Where you eat only foods that have come through a window.
Only foods that come through a window, so aka drive-thrus, massively processed foods, which are still food, but there's better options. Let's just leave it at that. Avoid Tay diets.
Yeah, food through a window is not really food, so that's the way I like to look at it.
Think long term. Most decisions. Think long term. Time is about to go off. We're gonna do one more question. Final question from Ryan. What is the best type of criticism? Now that's a good one, right? Because
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's if you're going to be a teacher, how do you criticize someone so that they improve at the same time as not just going, all right, you've done a good job, and then they don't so much improve, or if you want to it's a really fine line, right? Because some people take criticism well, others they hear criticism and then all of a sudden they hate you for life.
Yeah.
I remember in year 8 when I was drawing this epic Ninja Turtle, and it took me weeks. I was so stoked with it, like art class the whole semester. And then handed my assignment in to the art teacher, and I got it back, and it was a C minus, and I'm like, so this Ninja Turtle, I'd spent weeks, I'd spent hours just drawing every single line, coloring it beautifully. I thought it was amazing. Then the art teacher said,
But what Ninja Turtle was it?
I can't remember. It was a green Ninja Turtle. It was swanky. It was sweet. Then the teacher hands it back and says, I asked her, like, how come I didn't get an A? I didn't get it. I didn't get the fact that someone else couldn't think that my drawing, which I loved so much, wasn't that great. And she said, it's not up to A standard yet. And I'm like, I dropped out of art the next year because I was like, I can't draw.
What do you mean?
I was like, what do you mean, right? It's like, and to me, that affected me for so long. I dropped out of art. I didn't want to be creative because I had this voice in my head that whatever I created, it wouldn't be up to the standard as what someone else would think. And then I realized it wasn't the art teacher's fault. It was the voice in my head listening and blowing that piece of criticism out of proportion. But that's what's dangerous with that type of criticism and just saying it's not up to someone's standard or whatever. I think the best type of criticism is saying something that's useful to the other person. What can they do? Right? How can they take it and improve on it? It has to be specific, right? So that was, I think, when I used to work at Apple, that was the thing we always had was feedback had to be specific, have an action on the back end of that feedback. So if I was to tell Josh that if we're at gym and he's doing a bench press and it sucked, and I'm like, Josh, you suck at bench press, that's not a good form of criticism. He might stop. He might not bench press anymore because I've just told him he sucks, and now he's going to be embarrassed every time he goes to bench press because he thinks that I think that he sucks. Right? A better piece would be, hey Josh, I see you're doing bench press like this. I've had better experience doing it like this. Maybe you could try moving and arching your back a little bit more and tightening your grip or bringing it a little bit closer, right? That's some things that he can work with.
Types of criticism.
Oh, you're supposed to go off the back end of what I just said.
Yeah, I know, but like, I can only talk. I'm talking from like personal experience, like what criticism I've gotten is just like all the criticism that I've experienced is just all like they tell you what's wrong and then they give you a reason. I haven't had the other side of things where it's just like you suck. Well, only on streams. Like when I stream, it's just like people join and just go, "You're a noob," and then you just.
That's not useful criticism. If you're going to call him a noob, tell him why he's a noob.
Yeah, back it up. 1v1 me. Like
1v1 me, bro. Yeah. Come at me.
Yeah, like if you're going to give someone criticism, make sure you can back it up. That's what I would say. Like back it up with a reason. Another thing is like, what's the best type of criticism? Criticism comes down to another like time and place. If you're in a gym, don't walk up to people. Well, I don't feel comfortable telling other people how to do. Like I don't know. It's just weird. You ever get that feeling?
What?
Like someone, you see someone in the gym doing something wrong, and you're just like, am I going to be that guy that goes up and...
Yeah, it's a very fine line. One part of me is just like, oh, I really got to help him. And the other part is like, oh, if I go over and help him, he might think that I'm better than him and telling him how to live his life and all this sort of stuff. It's a very, very fine line. I mean, criticism is best... when it's useful and it's not as much criticism, it's more so advice and it's more so feedback, and it's a way, it's trying to help, right? I think people are smart. They can sense when you're trying to help, and they can sense we're all smarter than we give ourselves credit for. We can sense when people are just trying to be helpful, when people are just trying to be mean. It's a very fine line. Best type of criticism is think about in the past and when you had a really great teacher, because more than likely that teacher has been giving you some constructive criticism so you can improve your work. And a great way to get some good criticism is ask people how you can improve. So here's one. How can we improve these videos? Leave a comment below. How can we improve or any of my videos or any of my creative work? Leave whatever you want below, and we'll do our best to respond. We'll respond to everything, but we'll do our best to incorporate it in the future. And we got Poppy coming back.
She's back.
But
Come here.
Q&A's over. Thursday talk show. Maybe we'll continue this in the future. It was good fun.
Yep.
What do you reckon? Here we go. Poppy's on the show. You gonna sign out, Seven? All right. We're signing out from the future. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're gonna use this for the thumbnail.
We could. We definitely could.
Thumbnail.
This is the longest thumbnail I've ever filmed.
The longest thumbnail I've ever felt.